Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Josh and Jason Money Christian Conspiracy Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Money. If you know me, I'm a Christian rapper, devoted husband, father, and Army veteran. And yeah, we have a awesome show today, something that's near and dear to my heart. My guest is Norbert Heuser, and I had him on before talking about the coffee addiction or caffeine addiction. It was a really successful show, and I'm glad to have you back. How's it going, Norbert?
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be around and that you have me as your guest. I'm very honored. Thanks a lot for doing so.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you coming on and waking up early. I don't know how early it is for you.
Well, it's 8 o'clock. That's still a good early time, but not like you in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's 5 in the morning. Yep. So yeah, but what a beautiful morning it is. So yeah, before I used to do shows and people could see in the background that it's dark on my screen there and it's light on the other person's screen. So they knew it was early for me. But I got this thing now. So anyways, yeah, so what a blessing. Yeah. So thanks for coming on and he wants to talk about reverse osmosis water and probably all the things that people think is positive about it, but aren't. I hope. I think that's what you're going to talk about. All right.
Well, I do. Well, it's very easy in this world. We have loads of information, tons of information, more than ever before in history. Unfortunately, a lot of the information we have are wrong, deceiving, are just fake, are manipulated, are money motivated, um, so and misleading, and people buy into it, of course. And my work is based on my vision to bring my information to the world, to whoever wants to listen to it, what I could call my truth. And people just listen to it and then decide it makes sense, it makes no sense. I'm not a medical doctor. I cannot give any medical advice, of course. But I just talk about my experience, my testings, and my research.
Yeah, and last time you did an excellent job. I think you threw curveballs for everybody that was listening because it was really a good show. I liked it. I enjoyed it, and people liked it too. The audience was left some good feedback for you, so I'm sure
Very,
they're glad that you're back.
very cool. If we have ever another situation, meanwhile, I have a few new thoughts about caffeine, and one day we can share that like 10-minute section um, where I came across thoughts which never been expressed by me before, really, right? You got my book, right? I sent it to you, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, good.
I have tons of books. I'm going to tell you right now, Norbert, because
Yeah, don't have
I
time to read them all. Okay.
Oh no. I just mean I from all the guests that I've had on, I usually buy the book or get the book. So I get blessed by people too, and like yourself, and you send me the book. So I got a lot of books here. But my wife was she completely quit caffeine. She like took all everything that you said to heart. And she completely quit all the way. So
Very cool.
what a blessing.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yep.
talk about reverse osmosis system. I would like to start off with a quick explanation. What does a reverse osmosis mean? People use the word all the time, but they have no concept. What does it stand for, right? Uh,
Yes.
Reverse osmosis means that you have a concentration, a balance between two liquids through a selective permeable membrane, which means you have two containers. Between the two containers is a membrane, and from the incoming water in one container, the water is pressed through a membrane to the other container, which we then call reverse osmosis water, after it has been passing through the membrane. And I'm completely opposing to reverse osmosis technology and water. And I have 6, 7 reasons, and I would like to give them out to you. And let's start with the first one. How's that?
Yeah, let's do it. And
My
just
my
I'll I'm
yeah,
sorry.
sorry.
So the audience knows my background too. You guys know that I'm in water and the United States military. We use reverse osmosis on our TWIB system, which is the tactical water purification system. So that is so I do have a background in this, and my boss also, my current boss at my job, his company uses they used to use well, they still do reverse osmosis for the city. So they use it to blend water, right? So it's used through cities as well and water companies still to this date. But go ahead, Norbert. Just
I,
wanted.
I personally believe that the reverse osmosis system is the most sold water filtering system on our planet.
Hmm.
In some countries more, in some countries less. In America, a lot. Okay? And people have the idea, I have a reverse osmosis system, so I have good water,
Hmm.
equal water. Nothing could be further from the truth. So the reason number one, I do not accept reverse osmosis water. It's very obvious. It is not God-given.
Yep.
Reverse osmosis water is not natural. It does not exist in nature.
Yeah.
That's something we should immediately reflect on and say, look, mankind for whatever 100,000 years has never drunk reverse osmosis water. It's
Yep.
not their nature. And if it's not their nature, it's the first indicator God didn't want us to have that. If he would have wanted it, he would have given it to us.
That's very
Very
true. I agree. And yeah, and if you also, uh, if you do use reverse osmosis and the brine water, which is the water that doesn't make it through the filtration system, you cannot take that water and put it back into the river or back into the lake, which we used to use. Obviously, these big companies and districts are not pulling out of like a river or a lake like we would in the United States military, but we can't take that brine water and we cannot place it back into the river or back into the lake that we just pulled it from, if that makes sense,
yeah.
because obviously, because like you just said right now, that water is not what God would make and what nature would accept. Because if you put it back into that water and there's fish around, it'll actually kill the fish.
So if you are serious with your education, how to look at the world, how to collect information, how use the information, only that information would, I could stop the show right there, would be enough to say, sorry, bye bye, no way to go. It's a no go, right? Okay,
Yeah.
but people don't know that. So that's the reason number one. Reason number two, reverse osmosis technology has originally, it was never designed for human consumption, but for military use only, and later for industrial use, where for whatever reason they wanted to have this kind of quality water, which we talk about later a bit again. Okay. So reverse osmosis water was never meant that you drink it. That was not the purpose, which is a second very strong reason to say, okay, so why would I drink it? First reason is not God given and it's not even designed originally for mankind use. We use a lot of, and what we have to understand is, and you know that better than me, most of the inventions nowadays are coming from the military side. Let's talk about GPS. Let's talk about microwave oven. Let's talk about cell phones. Um, all these inventions were based on the research and the work of the military, because the military has typically all the budget in the world they want,
Yeah.
which a private normal company cannot afford. Okay. So they develop these products and these technologies with whatever mindset. You may know that 5G, which is around lately, like since 2020, really, with the shutdown, it came up with 5G. And it's another topic I talk about cell phones and about electromagnetic radiation. Don't want to go there, but just a quick reference there. 5G is not new. 5G has been around since the 1960s and has been used by the army as a weapon.
Yeah.
So, and now we use it for our cell phones, for our communication, right?
Yeah.
So we should be careful if something has been designed for the army and then they make money out of it by commercializing it.
Yeah. And we pay for, and the crazy thing is, we pay for our tax. So we use our tax money to invent it, and then they sell it back to us at a cost where we're paying taxes on it again to buy it, and then they're profiting off of that. So that's one thing, one aspect of it. And I think
Yeah.
another thing that popped in my head was this stuff that we're using in the United States Army is for temporary use and for wartime. So we're using it because we want to place the system there. We want to, use whatever we have, whether it's a pool, whether it's a lake, whatever it is, and we want to pull from that pool or lake or river, and we want to use it for temporary use, and then we move. we're not trying to like place it there for 40 years and use that water for every single person that's there at all times. It's really for let's say let's you know create our TWIP system, let's make it and let's use it, and then we're gonna move to the next mission. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
not saying though when you are like when you're deployed in Kuwait or you're deployed in an area like that, you're not using the TWIP system for water. You know, you may use the TWIP system for laundry, right? But you're not going to be using that because what they do is they just, which is even worse, they take bottled water and they give you like there's like 12,000 bottled water like that's just placed there in the sun in Kuwait. And then you're taking the bottled water and you're drinking that. And they say do not drink the water out of the tap or anything like that here. And that's what you're drinking. So, and that's reverse osmosis water. That's, I don't
And
want to take over the show.
it's usually plastic bottles, right?
Yes, and I don't want to take over the show, but that's reverse osmosis water, probably taken from a river, put through reverse osmosis, and then supposedly adding minerals, and then sell, and then giving it to us as well. So, yeah.
Well,
Um,
I love if you take over more because I learned from you.
well, I'm really just trying to because I don't like to do that because I like the presenter to
No, no,
speak,
no, no, no,
but
no.
it's something
You're
that I
knowledgeable.
all
You're
right.
knowledgeable. You're very knowledgeable. And you have information in a practical world over many years, which I don't have. So I'm happy you
Okay.
coming in the show. And so it's not only a monologue, but a dialogue. And you contribute information which I don't have and which make things more understandable for the
Okay.
people there. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
All
we
right.
had two reasons now why I despise um, reverse osmosis water. And here comes reason number three. It's a waste of water. For each gallon of reverse osmosis water you produce, you dump easily up to 3 gallons of water, which cannot be used anymore. So people don't see that. They have their water system at home, and it's a crazy waste, a crazy amount of cost. So when they got a gallon of water out of the machine, they don't know that in between they lost 2, 3, 4 gallons, depending on the system, which went down the drain.
And
So
another
that's
thing I can add to that is so what you pay, I'll tell you guys what you pay for so for 740 gallons of water, it's a unit, right, on your meter that's going, right? So you get 740 gallons of water for one unit. Then depending on what your water company charges you for that unit, I'm just going to give you an average, and I can't really disclose the company that I work for, obviously, because of what I'm doing here. But anyways, one unit, right, would be like let's say it's 550 per unit or $6 per unit. Think about that. For $6, you're getting 749 gallons of water, for example. So when you go to the store, right? Let's say you go to 7-Eleven and you go buy 24 pack of water, and you're gonna get that in liters, right? So you're paying like 6.99 for 24 uh 12-ounce bottles of water that have been through reverse osmosis, which Norbert's going to go over all the things that you shouldn't have. And all they do is they pull that water out of San Bernardino uh well. They pull it out of a well anyways. So they pull it out of a well and they take that water, they put it through reverse osmosis, and they sell it to you for 6.99 for 24 12-ounce containers of water that they put through reverse osmosis, stripped all of the nutrients out of that, fully everything, all the bad, all the good, and then they just give you some minerals and then they sell it to you. So think about that compared to what you're getting out of the tap. That's the first thing. But go ahead, Norbert.
So we had three good reasons to say bye-bye. Let's end the show. No more reverse osmosis water, right? But
Yep.
the heavy guns are coming right up. The next topic is the reason number four why I don't support reverse osmosis water at all is what is called acidity. Okay, reverse osmosis water is very acidic. The normal acidic level goes from 1 to 14. In the middle, they usually promote 7 is neutral. In my world, 7 is not neutral. In my world, 7.5 rounded is neutral. Why? The human blood has 7.34, and the human blood needs to be 7.34. If the human blood would be 9 pH or 6 pH, you would be sick or die even. because the body needs God-given. It's God-given. It's not something we can play around with. We have a body temperature God-given. We have a pH level in our blood, which is God-given, okay? Now, the pH level throughout the body is different. So the stomach and the liver and so on, they have all kind of different pH levels in a very natural, normal, healthy situation. So neutral is 7.5. All right, good. Now look at your left side, you have in red the acidic area, and on the right side, the alkaline area. Let's look at acidic first. Now, if water is 7.5 neutral, and now you drink a water which is 6.5, what does that mean? It's one number. And people say, well, that's just one number difference. Well, it's a logarithmic scale, which means the water is 10 times too acidic. I have it here for you in a different image, vertical. You see 7.5 neutral on the top, right? Now, if the water is 6.5, it's 10 times too acidic. If it's 5.5, it's 100 times too acidic. If it's 4.5, it's 1,000 times too acidic for your body. And then you see 3.5, 10,000 times, 2.5, 100,000 times, 1.5, 1 million times too acidic. Now, let's say take 2.5, it's 100,000 times too acidic. You may say, well, who's so stupid to drink something which is 100,000 times too acidic for the body? Harmful, completely harmful. Well, 2.5 pH, typically every Coke product and all these type of things have a pH of 2.5. The people drink a product which is 100,000 times too acidic. Now, I have indicated the typical range of reverse osmosis water, which I find 6.5, 5.5, 4.5. The lowest I found so far was 4.5. And that was funny enough with a person who had stage 4 cancer, and he asked me for help if I have a solution, a suggestion, what could he do? As a life coach and health coach, I can give a suggestion. I cannot give a medical treatment. So 4.5. The first thing I do when people ask me for help and have a problem, I test their water, what quality is the water, and their exposure to electromagnetic radiation. All right. So far, so good?
So far, so good. Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Now let's look at the alkaline line. There is a big misunderstanding out there that alkaline is healthy. Again, the most healthy water would have a range, let's say, between 7 and 8. Let's make the range a bit wider, 7 to 8, which is completely healthy. 7.5 neutral. Okay. Now they think if they drink alkaline water, it's more healthy than acidic water. Again, we call it neutral 7.5, which means it's not alkaline and not acidic. And this is what the body needs when we talk about water. It needs to be neutral. So if we have alkaline water with 8.5, it's 10 times more acidic, and so on and so forth, similar like we did before with acidic. So here's the alkaline range. So you see, as we go up, it's again the same logarithmic scale. One number up, 7.5 to 8.5 means 10 times X, to 9.5 means 100 times X, and so on. So it's a misleading concept. I drink alkaline water and this is healthy. Alkaline water as such is not healthy.
I can add to it too when you're ready. Just go ahead and continue, and
I'm
I can
ready.
add to this conversation part too. Oh,
Okay.
you're ready? Okay. So here's one thing, guys. So whoever your water district is, we have to meet obviously the state, and then environmental agency, all that stuff. We have to meet that. So you have people going out and taking samples off of different parts of your distribution system, which there's probably going to be a sample station close to your house, and then your friends, all these people all through your whole entire neighborhood. And we have to do that in compliance. Like, for example, we have like 64 samples that we have to do a month at least. So we're going out there and we're testing the TDS, we're testing the pH, and then we're taking the sample, so all these different places. So there's it's happening every single month. We're checking all these places. We're checking also obviously the wells, all the sources that are coming out. So we have if we have some source that's coming in from like metropolitan water or whatever, that we have to check that. And then if we have any sources coming in, plus all of the wells, plus of all, if you have a surface water treatment plant, whatever you have, you're constantly checking what he's talking about, the pH. You're checking the TDS, and usually in the system we're like 7.0 to 8.0. It's going to be within that range that actually Norbert's talking about, and that's water that's coming directly out of your tap, right? And it's meeting whatever Norbert's saying right now. We're meeting these qualifications that he's actually speaking of without any filtration, without anything. You just go straight to your tap. You take a cup, like I always do. I don't have any filtration system. I'll never use it, and I just put my cup in there and I fill my cup up and then I drink it, knowing I know what's going on because I actually know the guy that runs the system, the whole plant. So I know exactly what water I'm getting, and if it's too chlorinated or anything like that, I could talk to him. He won't do anything, but still, I just tell him, "Hey, man, I feel like the water's too chlorinated, whatever." I mess around with him. But anyways, so exactly what he's saying right now is what you're gonna get. Usually, I'm not talking about every single district or every city in the whole entire United States. I don't know what other uh, states have, but exactly what Norbert's talking about is what you'll get in my city if you take it directly out of the tap as far as the pH. Just letting you know. Go ahead.
Cool. So that's one indicator, the pH. There are other things to be said. Okay.
Yeah.
Now here is a statistic I created, and that I did it myself. So that's not a claim, scientific, proven all over the world. I once went out and tested all the typical drinks we're drinking every day. Now the statistic may be too small in size now for you guys out there to see it. Now, if you go to my website, which is improveyourlife.us, improveyourlife.us, and there is a button called Health, and under Health is a button pH. If you go to that page, you can download this statistic I'm showing now to you and others referring pH, right?
Yeah.
You can look at this statistic there. What I've done is I take typical drinks, whether it's the Coke products or apple juice or beers or coffee, and sparkling mineral water, and so on and so forth. Typical things people drink throughout the day. I want to create an awareness, not telling you how you have to run your life. That's your decision. But I want you to be aware. Being aware of a problem, to my definition, means have the solution. You got to be aware first to know whether I got to change, I should change, I will change, I will not change. So let's talk about a typical day. You start the morning with a coffee. A coffee has typically a range of 4 to 5 pH, which means 100 to 1,000 times too acidic, depending on the coffee. Then you drink maybe an orange juice, because orange juice is healthy, right, in the morning.
Yep.
Orange juice has typically 3.5, 4.5, which is again 100,000 or 10,000 times too acidic. So you already sabotaged the health of your body with the first 2 drinks in the morning. Then at lunchtime, you drink maybe a Coke, which is 100,000 times too acidic, 2.4. In the afternoon, another coffee, which is another 100,000 times too acidic. And maybe in the evening, you have with your wife at home a nice dinner, and you drink a nice red wine with your wife, and you again 1,000 times, 10,000 times too acidic. So I made this list for you to be aware how acidic, just the drinks, we're not talking about food, how acidic we live. Now, the information is that basically, I never found a very unhealthy person who is not too acidic. And we know that cancer, for example, thrives on acidity. And a good doctor, if you have cancer, the first thing he may say, okay, you got to stop to drink coffee or anything acidic. It is too bad for your cancer. Your cancer will thrive on these drinks. It's like feeding cancer, sugar, feeds cancer, right? So these are some basic knowledge we have, which is not often applied, unfortunately. All right, so too acidic. And now I see people going into the health food stores, and in the health food stores, they have what is called the water pumping stations.
Mhm.
Here's an image from my health food store. I blended out their name. I don't want to bash them, but
Yes.
it's this is a typical water filtering station in a health food store. And of course, sorry, of course, it's reverse osmosis water. So people go there with the idea, I'm in a health food store, things are healthy here, and which is far from the truth. You gotta, even in a health food store, turn every label of every product and see what's in it. And basically, all these water filtering stations I've found so far are all reverse osmosis water. And people take gallons of containers, fill them, and bring it home, believing they did a great thing for their health. And here is not, I'm not selling products. There are testing devices out there
Mm.
um, for you to test water or solids, okay, or drinks, whatever. You can test your urine. Like this measuring device I use to make these tests is about $150.
Mm.
And you need the top one, and you need 1 drop, 2 drops of water, of your urine, of your blood, anything liquid, and within seconds you get the results. How acidic is this particular liquid? And I found a second one the other day, which I want. Again, I'm not selling these products. I'm not associated with these companies, but here's a second product which I found the other day. It's much cheaper. It's a range of $60. Okay.
Mhm.
So you could easily buy this product as an amateur, and within a few minutes, and it takes seconds only the test, you can find out how acidic is my saliva, how acidic is my urine, how acidic is the water I'm drinking, and so on and so forth. So these give you the indication. So the main point here I made in this section of the show is that with all the other reasons we had before, additional reason not to drink a reverse osmosis water, it's too acidic. I did several years ago a show in Germany. I did more shows in Europe than in America. And after the show, this woman calls me, or she contacted me by email, and she thanked me for the show. And she said, look, I'm trying to live a healthy life. I do everything which I believe is right. And I can't get healthy. And I don't know why. And when I listened to your show, I went down in my basement to check my water filtering system, and you were damn right. It is 4.5, 5.5, the water I'm drinking for years. So no question I cannot become healthy. She thanked me. But then again, I had people in my seminars breaking out in tears. I mean, literally in tears after they listened to my presentation in a seminar, where I give demonstrations as well on the water, not only talk about it, this woman said to me, these Pearson people said to me, well, I was very embarrassed that I made them cry. They said, well, I just bought a week ago for $5,000
Oh,
a reverse osmosis system.
yeah.
And now I'm learning that that was a wrong decision. I said, yes, I'm very sorry, but I got to say what I got to say. But then again, you have a chance to change your life around. Okay, so that was number four. Number four,
So,
acidity.
I'll touch on that too. So, that company that you just saw right there, you saw that you kind of put a 5 gallon thing into there. I think is like a 5 gallon, I believe. You know, the ones that they put on the shoulder. So what they do is they sell that water for, I don't know what it is, like the way that they make money is exactly how I explained. So through the tap, they're gonna get 749 gallons for 1 unit. So all they do is just take that water, they put it through reverse osmosis, they lose 30%, like you said, and then they sell it to the public at however much per gallon. So that's how do you think they function? They're functioning because they're making mass profit off you by selling you something called reverse osmosis, and people go, "Oh, great!" They really hit the Hispanic community. Okay, the way they hit the Hispanic community is because in Mexico, obviously, and I'm not trying to talk bad about any country or talk bad about any race or anything like that. All I'm telling you is that that's who they try to hit mostly because And or if you're Asian and you come from Thailand, or let's say you come from the Philippines, or that community as well. The reason why is because in Mexico, I've been there before, and they say, don't drink out of the tap. So what they originally think is that out of the tap, the water is going to be bad. Even if they do come to America, they don't have any idea of all the strenuous work that we have to put in and how the environmental agency makes us do all these strenuous things. So that is the point to these companies is it's all about profit and gain, especially with Nestle and all these different water companies. They are literally taking water out of Lake Arrowhead and they're just they're taking, or they are literally going to a well. It'll say on the container and the bottled water company, it'll say like San Bernardino municipal water. It came from them. They're taking the water out of the well and they're putting it through reverse osmosis and they're selling it to you at that price. It's all about profit and gain, not about health. If it was about health, then they would be putting the bottled water at least in a glass container, but they're putting it in a plastic container. It's sitting in the sun and then it's being shipped to you. So there's BPA and there's who knows what kind of minerals they're putting in it or if the minerals are even still good. So you're drinking water. When you drink reverse osmosis water, another thing I want to add to this that'll also add to what Norbert's saying. Uh, if you drink reverse osmosis water for 30 years, you're going to have bone deficiency because it strips all the bad and all the good nutrients out of the water. And you're going to have bone deficiency. And it's something that I told. So not only does it strip, the bad stuff that's supposedly in the water, but, the chlorine, everything that they say it's stripping, but it's also stripping the good stuff that we're supposed to have out of the water, which is like the TDS, total dissolved solids, and the minerals. So you're going to have bone deficiency by the time that you are done with life for sure, besides all the stuff that Norbert is talking about.
Yes, you're right. We're getting to this in a minute as well.
Oh,
Here's
sorry.
another
I should.
one. No, 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 no. It's all good. I love our conversation. I love it. Everything is cool, and I love to have dialogue and get away from monologues. Dasani is most likely perhaps the most sold bottled water in America. You see the image, my friend, right?
Yes, sir. I see it.
Um, and Dasani is one of the about 130 beverages Coca-Cola owns, about 130 different beverages which Coca-Cola owns. And the funny part is they say themselves on the bottle, purified water enhanced with minerals for pure fresh taste. All right.
Yeah.
And Coca-Cola admitted in an article by Reuters Institute, by the Office of Reuters Information, Coca-Cola admits that Dasani is nothing but tap water. So what Coca-Cola has done is they take tap water and run it through the reverse osmosis system and then sell it to you. And they admit it. That's what it is. Now, if anybody would drink in reverse osmosis water, you have a filtering system or what you call a taste filter. The pure reverse osmosis water, you would most likely spit out and puke if you drink it. So they add minerals and like ketchup on the food, they add this in order to make it drinkable, to make it drinkable. That you say, oh, that smell, it's a good taste, it's fresh, yeah. Yeah, but that's an illusion because of what they add to. And this is how they work. And if you have then blended out the name here, distilled water, they advertise pH 9 on the bottle. They advertise pH 9 on the bottle, which means, as I said before, alkaline is not necessarily healthy. All right. So that refers now to just the topic acidity. And we talked about acidity now, which means the acidic situation is already very discouraging. It should be, right? Good. So that was one topic. Now we come to the next one. And the next one is number 5 is fungus. Now, in the reverse osmosis water filtering system, fungus can easily grow, and it does. And a lot of tests have shown this. There is a book, a very interesting book, which unfortunately, I know all of you speak German. That's not a problem. Unfortunately, this book only exists so far in the German language. I hope some listener has a publishing company and takes the rights and runs with this book. The book is called The Mineral Water and Beverage Mafia. And what you learn in this book is mind-blowing. Okay. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And one of these things you learn in this book is that um, it creates fungus. The fungus grows in the membrane and sits there. Now, when you have fungus in the water, it ends up in your stomach. And that doesn't sound too healthy, does it?
No, it's not.
And years ago, I know some people made tests on a farm where they gave to one section of the plants regular city water, and on the other section they gave reverse osmosis water, and they could prove that fungus was growing primarily or a lot in that plant section with reverse osmosis water.
Yeah, and also when you when you mix like chlorine water, which basically the tap water is going to be chlorine, and you have not saying all funguses, but certain algae, then you're gonna get something that forms that's actually can cause cancer. I'm just trying to figure. I cannot remember what it's called because I took my D3 test a while back. But yeah, it could cause some issues, and there's actually a lot of people that I deal with, and that a lot of people that work for water districts would deal with, where they'll call us and say, "Hey, I have dirty water coming out of my meter," and we're like, so what we do is we go to the tap or the spigot outside, and I just basically open up the spigot, kind of get a sample and see, and the water's clear as day. So that's between the meter and the house. So I know that the spigot's getting the water that's coming out of our meter. But when they go into their bathroom or they go into their kitchen, they come out and they say, "Look, this water's all brown or whatever color." And you're like, okay, well, the water that's coming from, I was like, do you have, that's what I asked them. Usually I have to, do they have a filtration system, reverse osmosis system? They're like, yes. So what's happening is exactly what Norbert's talking about is that their filters are dirty, and it's causing their water to come out like that, which means it's already been using it for long enough for that fungus to build up, and now they have that brown water. So they need to come and have what they usually do is they come and have the people come and change out the filters, right? But Norbert is 100% correct. It does cause that, and we have to in the Army we have to actually every time we use the TWIPs, let's say we use it for like 3 weeks at like annual training or some kind of training site, then we actually have to wash them out, and we do like a backwash, and we have to wash the filters out. So Norbert is definitely correct on what he's saying about this.
And what happens as well, as you know from your experience, even if you buy a system and they say change the filter every 6 months, right?
Yeah,
Who does change it every 6 months?
nobody.
Nobody.
Yes.
Even if it would be doing its job, right? All right. So the fungus, it's a big risk. Now we're coming to a major technical part, and I try to keep it as slim as possible. But here is where a lot of people have no idea what's going on, and I tried to bring some light, my light in there. I hope it enlightens you. Um, Now, the water we said is running through the membrane. This is the core, the heart of the reverse osmosis system, right? Now, the membrane has thousands of tiny little holes. And most of the time, to my research, the people who sell you a water filtering system, they don't make those membranes. They buy the membranes from certain chemical, technical industry, which are specialized to make those membranes. And here's what I'm referring to. Such a membrane has thousands of holes. You see here what you call like a basketball, the round ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
That represents the diameter of a human hair. Imagine that's the diameter of the human hair. And in the middle, I'll put the arrow there, you see a small little blue dot, right? That represents the size of the hole, of each hole in the membrane. Try to digest that. The pore size in the membrane has a diameter of 0.1 nanometer. Talking in millimeters there, it's 1/10 of 1/millionth of a millimeter, or 1/10 of 1 million of 0.04 inches. That is the size of the hole where the water is being pressed through. The hole is so small that only water molecules can go through this hole, and everything else is held back for the good or for the bad.
Yep.
Does it?
And yeah, and then in the water industry in America or in the military, we use something called a micron. So a human hair would be 1 micron, or sorry, 30 microns, right? And then the reverse osmosis system is 0.001 microns. So, and then looks like you're using nanometer. That's also used as well. I'm looking that up here. So that's a way you could say it. So yeah, you're definitely correct here.
Okay, so what does it mean in the practical world? I explained to you, and it's getting to the more intense part of water. Now, as you mentioned, everything is held back. And of course, the people who sell you the system saying, we'll take the crap out of the water, which is true, but as well, the badly needed nutritions and minerals, which the body needs. So this is filtered out of the water as well. So there's nothing, so to speak, in the water. And they have a dirty trick. This is what I call the dirty trick, the salespeople for reverse osmosis water. They come to your house and they take water from your tap and in a glass, and then they pour in some liquid, some chemical, and that chemical makes all these particles swimming in the water to be seen, right? And it looks like, Jesus, what's in that water? This is terrible, right? And they say, yeah, you want to drink that water? Here's the dotted line sign. You don't want to drink that water with all this crap in there, right? They don't tell you that most of what you see is calcium, are natural products, which is not poisoning. It's not poisoning at all. But it looks like it's dirt or so, but it's not. But they shock you, they put you into fear. Now, what is in our planet? It's another show I do about that this planet is only based on frequencies. We only are based on frequencies. Everything is frequency. Every person, every product, it's all frequencies. Your spiritual being is a frequency. You are on a very high level as a spiritual being of frequencies. So, and I studied a lot of people, and I'm on Tesla and so on. Of course, you have to. And Tesla says the entire world is based on frequencies. Now, I developed my thesis, which says, yeah, that's cool. It doesn't matter how million frequencies you have. You can separate those frequencies into pro-survival with positive consequences, or into counter-survival frequencies with negative consequences. Now, you may have never heard this is my original material, and another show I explain it more in depth, and then it makes more sense to you. Now, the reverse osmosis system filters everything out, the counter-survival and the pro-survival. Now is an additional thought here, which is maybe surprising for a lot of people. If you have a product, let's say you have chlorine in the water, the particle of chlorine or fluoride is not dangerous, is not unhealthy. That's a very surprising thought, and it's okay if you crucify me for that. The frequency of that product is what makes it harmful. So not the physical particle of fluoride in the water is harmful, but its frequency is harmful. When you filter out the fluoride in the water, you still have the frequency of fluoride in the water. And this makes all the difference in the world, this frequency. We'll get to this a bit more here. And I developed a technology where I nullify this frequency. What does that mean, nullify? Now, let's say we take fluoride. And fluoride has a frequency. Let's say the fluoride frequency is -2. We know the frequency of every product. So the frequency of fluoride is -2. If I now add the frequency of +2 into the water, it's what is called nullified or inversion, which means +2 and -2, simple math, is 0. So there is no more impact from that frequency. It's like having a venomous snake and you pull the tooth. The snake is not poisoning anymore. So this is a situation where we say, okay, +2 and -2, we nullify the frequency. And I do this, we'll talk later about what I've developed there. I do this with every water. It doesn't matter what's in the water, whether it's arsenic or whether it's fluoride or whether it's chlorine. The frequency of this product is what is harmful. All right. So in the reverse osmosis system, in the membrane, everything has been taken out. And as Josh said, the minerals are taken out as well, okay? The minerals are taken out as well. And when the minerals are taken out, you took out something the body needs. And this brings us to the next topic, the problem with reverse osmosis water. And the next topic is that this reverse osmosis water has a structure which has been killed. The natural structure of water has been killed in a reverse osmosis water system. And this is a structure we need. We'll talk about this in a minute. It's called hexagonal structure. So for you to understand is the minerals are taken out of the water. The body needs the minerals. Now you feed this water to your body, and we call it hungry water. Hungry water means the water now is lacking minerals. It's getting into your body, and it sucks out the minerals within your body like a magnet because it needs those minerals. It sucks them out. We call it hungry water. And maybe illnesses where people have enormous problems with their bones and the density of the bones and so on. All these minerals, not only that the water doesn't bring good minerals, it takes out, it extracts from your body the good minerals you have. And this is bad. Now, what the reverse osmosis filter people, the salespeople tell you, they say, because they know that this word came around, people heard a bit about that. So what they tell you is, oh, that's not a problem. You go to the health food store, you buy some minerals, and you throw it in the water.
Yeah.
It would be for me to say to you, eat hamburgers, McDonald's every day. Then you go in a health food store and eat some minerals and some vitamins, and you're fine, healthy, right? Okay, be aware that it extracts minerals within your body and it makes you more unhealthy.
Oh.
Now, I have developed a technology. Again, we'll talk about this later, my technology, but what it does is, as I said to you, I can nullify the bad information in the water. So it has no more bad information. At the same time, I call it reverse nullify. Now, let's say there are no minerals in the water. I have analyzed with my team in Europe all major, truly health water wells, spas, where you have truly healthy water with all the minerals you ever need. And we know the frequencies of these healthy minerals. And you see here, I call it reverse nullify. As I can program, my products are quantum physics computers. As I can program to nullify the bad frequencies, I can say, fine, then let's add the frequency of the minerals you need. We know which minerals you need. So let's add them into your water by applying our technology. So if the minerals are not there, we give you the minerals in our system. Is that a strange thought?
I would think that just people should, I mean, if you live in America, not in other countries, I don't know what they run, or most other states probably run pretty similar to us, but um, just drink the water out of the tap.
Yeah. People ask me, what water should I drink? I said, it's fine. That's my personal opinion. We'll
Yeah.
talk about my products in a few minutes. Um, Take tap water, which is the cheapest water you can get, and relatively healthy compared to all these other solutions, right? And now add my technology, which costs you $800. $800 is guaranteed for 10 years. It does more than we're just saying, okay? I'm saying what it does. Okay, so, and then you have, to my definition, the most healthy water in a industrialized society. Now, we talked about these seven reasons so far why not reverse osmosis water. Now comes reason number 8. And reason number 8 is called hexagonal structure. Some people may have never heard about hexagonal structure. There was a very famous gentleman. He's dead now. I never had the pleasure to meet him. He died before I ventured with my hexagonal structure water. And this gentleman, Japanese gentleman, his name was Masaru Emoto. And Masaru Emoto found out that if you take water and you freeze it, and you take the crystals then, and you shoot photos, these photos will show you whether the water is healthy or not. This is a gentleman here, Masaru Emoto, and he traveled the world. He gave many seminars. You find him on YouTube with videos and so on and so on and so on. I'm not inventing this stuff. I'm just using his findings in my products and my technology. So this is a water crystal of healthy water. And it's called hexagonal structure. Hexagonal structure, hexagonal from Greek 6. You see basically this piece of art. It's like a jewelry. It has 6 edges, 6 spikes. And sometimes, depending on where you live in wintertime, when water is on your window and it freezes outside, you see these water crystals. This is what we see here. But he developed that technology to take any water and shoot photos and see whether the water is healthy or not. So the water, to be healthy, must have a hexagonal structure. If the water does not have a hexagonal structure, forget it, because it cannot penetrate. It's fine clustered. It cannot penetrate your cells, which it needs to do. And he found out that you see here on top the water crystal, again, this kind of jewelry, and below you see water which is screwed up. Now, he found out when you speak the words to water, or give music, or if you pray, the water structure changes. So the top image, he spoke the words love and gratitude. This is not my photo, this is his photo. He spoke the word love and gratitude, and the water transforms into a healthy structure. The same water, he spoke the word Satan, and all of a sudden, that beautiful water structure is lost, is destroyed. That is destroyed water, what you see there.
Yeah.
Some more example here. There is a Christian pilgrimage place in France called Lourdes. Have you heard about it, Josh?
No.
Lourdes? Okay. It's in the Christian Catholic Church, a very, 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 very famous pilgrimage place in the south of France, the Pyrenees Mountains close to Spain. Okay, there's a story behind this. We don't want to go there, but it's a sacred place. And this is the water structure of that sacred place, where they said originally wonders happened when people drank or took a bath in that water. All right, here's another image. If you play music to water, on top you play Mozart. I mean, this is a piece of art. It's fantastic. And then you play heavy metal music. You see the difference in the quality of the water. You don't need to drink it. You don't need to bring it to a lab. Just the structure of the water shows you it's bad. Masaru Emoto took pictures of the water, the city water in London and in Paris. And you see, this is not water, this is filth. This is whatever you call it. It has nothing to do with water. He took water left and right all over the places. And I recommend to you strongly to read his 2 booklets. They're not big books, they're booklets. Messages from Water and the Universe. And the second one is The Hidden Messages in Water. And he proves in those books, and he has plenty of images to prove it. And he explains he was a very strong believing Christian, which has not happened so often in Japan, but he was. He died in
And
2000.
he's a scientist as well too, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
having a scientist and being in Japan both, and him being saved is that's awesome, amazing. He also
So,
I
yeah,
I could add as well to, if you guys want to understand as well too. So what he's talking about, if you go to John 5, it's called the pool of Bethesda. Sorry, Bethesda. I think I'm spelling it or saying it wrong. But yeah, if you guys just read about that whole portion, it's talking about the, obviously it's next to the temple, right? So the people they're going into a pool, and Jesus is telling them to go into the water to get, to get well. But they're using, all I'm saying is maybe that gentleman maybe read stuff like this where, in the Bible, and kind of maybe put 2 and 2 together. And
sure,
then, so yeah.
sure,
And obviously people were praying around that water and all that stuff. And I'm not saying it's the water that's healing them. I think it's God healing them, but I just wanted to kind of let you guys know about that. If you look up John 5, verse 1, it starts right there. So you can read about that.
sure. And he talks as well about putting people, I don't know how many people there were, he gave the number, next to a lake, and they all prayed and changed the water, improved the water on the lake, right?
Mm,
So we know that praying works, right? You know that, my friend, that
I
praying
do.
works. Okay.
Amen to that.
Okay. So we know that praying works. But would you have ever thought about that praying works to improve your water? It does. Okay. It does. Now, talking about reverse osmosis water, getting back to the point now, I had to explain to you the basics here, the structure. That's a quick crash course. When I do seminars, I'll take much more time and more intense information, but it's a crash course here. Now we talk about reverse osmosis water. Now, here's an image. You have on top the hexagonal structure of healthy water. And once you run this water through a reverse osmosis system, you see below the healthy structure is destroyed. It's screwed up. The reverse osmosis water, so that's my main point here now. With all the other negative points we had, if you have a healthy water, if the reverse osmosis water will destroy it. There's no question. And you see here the proof. So these are
Very interesting. Hmm.
information. If you put them all together, the whole thing starts to make a big story. Okay. The story becomes really big. This hexagonal structure, or fine clustered, is something you badly need to have healthy water. And to my definition, there is no health if you drink unhealthy water. You'll never be truly healthy. It's impossible. Impossible. You see, in my definition, in the physical universe, in my definition, the biggest important thing to be healthy is your awareness as a spiritual being. That's the foundation of health. If you don't see, realize, and live as a spiritual being and sin-free and helping other people, you will be never healthy. Now, that's in the spiritual world. In the physical world, the most important ingredient of the physical world to be healthy is air, oxygen. And second, people will say food. No, it's not food. The second most important feature of health is water. Water has a bigger importance than food ever has. I'm not saying food is not important, but if you ask people how healthy do you live, well, they say, "Oh, I eat a health food store," and
They say diet. Yeah, you're right.
but they'll never talk about water. They never do. Now, there's a big booby trap here in our world, and I'm sorry to say that, but it's my opinion. It is my deepest opinion that a big booby trap we have in this world is the medical world. Okay? And I have here a clear definition. That's my doctor pyramid.
Yeah.
After 40 years in alternative medicine, to my personal opinion experience, and talking to many people over the years, 95% of the medical doctors are a disgrace. They cannot think holistic and have no idea about water, electromagnetic radiation, basic of dentistry, nutrition. 3% of the medical doctor I consider as good. 2% I consider are fantastic. And I had the privilege to meet and work and still do with many of the 2% top doctors. I learned from them. Some learned from me. When medical doctors found their way into my seminars, at the end of the seminars, many of them come up to me and say, "I don't understand. We were never taught these things in the university." And they admit they were trained to prescribe pharmaceutical products. And these 2-3% on top of the pyramid, I found that these doctors, I have one show which is called The Good and Not So Good Doctor, that these doctors started to learn after they left the university. After they left the university, they started to learn what medicine and good medicine is all about. Now, this is the first part of the 2 parts of my show where I explain to you why I do not agree and not support reverse osmosis water. And here in the last part coming up, in the shorter part, I explain you my solutions to this. And there is a basic thought I have, which is my original artwork, where I say, look, rest in peace, mankind is extinct because they believe that the laws of nature did not apply to them, and nature is God. We do not live with nature, but against it. You think you can outsmart nature? You really believe you can outsmart God? You can do anything you want, physically and mentally, and it has no severe consequences? And this is my belief, and this is what I'm working for, that you consider what you're doing in life. And I always say, the awareness of a problem is half the solution. I just try to create awareness, and you have to accept it or not, or to adopt it or not, and to live with it or not. Now, before I end up with my solutions, Josh, you have any other points so far?
Well, just like you were talking about in Romans 6 22, it says, "But now having been set free from sin and having become slaves of God, you have the fruit of holiness and the end, everlasting life. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus our Lord." So it's saying that the wages of sin is death, right? So like you were saying, we have a spiritual and a physical, and we got to make sure that we're paying attention to both, right?
Yes.
And like you were saying, God created everything the way it's supposed to be functioning, right? So if you are trying to go against nature, and as we know, the devil is running rampant in all these companies that are coming to sell us these products, and there's a reason for it. There's a reason why there's reverse osmosis. There's a reason why there's all these different products because they want to be killing you slowly. They don't want you to drink the product and die, tomorrow, but they obviously want to kill you slowly. And that's what he's talking about. That's why there's a Starbucks on every corner, and then there's a liquor store on every corner, and there's a Dunkin' Donuts and all this different stuff that's out there. And all Norbert is trying to do is make you aware of it, and then doing some deep dive and definitely a lot of good research. I mean, everything I'm hearing, I'm in agreement because I've studied water reverse osmosis and actually I'm a qualified operator. So everything he's saying is not. No, I've never heard of the hexagon part. That was really cool. There's a lot of stuff that you were teaching me that I've never learned. I just keep quiet and listen because it's very interesting. And I've heard of the people that played heavy metal music to plants and then played like symphony to plants and then they died. Maybe that was not because of the plants. Maybe that's because of the water they were giving the plants were
Yes.
receiving that
Yes.
that's probably maybe what it was. And I didn't even think about it until you said that. I was like, wow, I've heard that before. And yeah, prayer, if you think about it, God created water, obviously. So if you're praying, I mean, God could do anything. So he can heal. And
Yeah.
that's one of the healing properties. So I thought that was really interesting stuff. I really loved what you had to say. But yeah, go ahead. I think
Well,
everything you said is
I
on
can
point.
recommend you these two small booklets, right?
Okay.
And I have another show which I'm offering, which is the show is called The True Parameters. How do I judge what healthy water is, right? And
Yeah.
this reverse osmosis is one part of the other show, which I don't repeat and all over again, about to give additional information about water. So, all right. So years ago, well, first I started in this world as a manufacturer, which I didn't want to be, ending up as a manufacturer to protect people from electromagnetic radiation, cell phones, Wi-Fi, and so on, right? Because I became very sick, and my firstborn grandson became very sick. And I woke up and I said, something got to be done, right? And as you said, on every corner is a Starbucks. Now it becomes worse if we have that Starbucks in our own pocket called cell phone. Okay. So we carry our own degradation and we're enjoying it. We're dancing beyond the grave and we're enjoying it, right? Who wants to live without a cell phone? Who can? All right. So I created solutions because this is what I started all about. What can be done? And the interesting part is that solutions don't come typically from the government or from the big industries. Big industries don't want to have complicated things. They want to be successful, sell something real quick, um, and they don't have the ethics. Now, I have some hopes with Mr. Kennedy being on board in the government that there will be obviously major changes in health. And I can contribute with water, and I can contribute with frequencies, and I can contribute with protection from electromagnetic radiation, which for me is the primary reason every third person is dying at the moment of cancer. Okay, so I have developed two products. You see the blue unit there, W300, and the W100 is like a pen. Okay, so what is that? The W300 is a product you attach to your water pipe coming into the house. You just attach it. You don't drill any holes, you don't change any piping, you just attach it to the water pipe coming into the house. And it doesn't matter which house. It can be your personal house, or it can be a property with 50 parties living in the property. This is what it looks like. It represents a water pipe coming here from the city and going here into your house. Now, this product is like $600-700, whatever it is, and it's guaranteed for 10 years. As soon as the water, and this is only possible in quantum physics, okay? Because people say, how does it work? It doesn't touch the water. It doesn't need to touch the water. It's frequencies. So as soon as this water passes the blue unit here in the pipe, and the pipe can be thick, small, plastic, it doesn't matter which material. All the water, just talking about one item, all the water has this hexagonal structure. When the water before didn't have the hexagonal structure, now it has the hexagonal structure, which of course has been tested. Okay. It has the hexagonal structure then. And as I talked about before about information, bad frequencies, all bad frequencies are nullified as soon as it passes the water here, this blue unit. So I developed this for the whole house system. It's basically installed in 1 minute. Once you know where your water comes in the house, you just attach it, and that's it. Now, I, of course, was not happy enough by me only saying that, okay? And I wouldn't blame people who say, well, that sounds cocky, but it's a big word what you're saying there, right? Okay. Now, we talked about Masaru Emoto, this Japanese doctor, right? When I developed my products, he was already dead, but he has some qualified labs. And I sent to a qualified lab my products to test. And they took reverse osmosis water. And I said, at this point, I was too naive. I said, well, just take city water to show how I can prove the city water. They said, no, 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 no. We take reverse osmosis water. If you can do magic with reverse osmosis water, you're the king. You can't be better than that. Okay. So these images you see here, I didn't shoot those images. They were shot by such a Masaru Emoto qualified lab. You see on top, they took reverse osmosis water, shot the photo. You see the destroyed structure. Then they run the water through my blue system. And then you see after treating it with my, what I called IPC is the name of my company, W300, you see the beautiful structure of hexagonal water. I can tell you that is one of my proudest days in my life when they send me the images. Because that was the proof that I'm not making promises which I can't keep. And I needed to know it for myself because I needed a peace of mind that what I'm saying is true and it's scientifically proven. Because the average person, when I say these things, doesn't believe, they cannot understand it. It's out of the imagination. And again, this is only possible in quantum physics, not in a normal universe. You cannot do that, normal physics. So they proved it. And then I knew, okay, it does exactly what I said it does, right? And I was very, 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 very happy and proud. And then I sent the product to the BISA Institute in Austria. And the BISA Institute in Austria tested these units on the human body, which I show you in a minute what they tested. So I had two different tests, one from the Masaru lab, which proves just the hexagonal structure, which is plenty for me to prove, and the BISA Institute in Austria, which we see in a minute. So, but I was traveling a lot in the world at that time. And I said, I need some good water when I travel in hotels and when I'm on the road. So I developed a second product, which just looks like a silver pen. And the second product I designed specifically for traveling mobile purposes. So if you have good water at home, what happens if you go to work? What happens if you go to a hotel on a vacation? So you take that silver, I call it silver pen, and you pour out a drink in a cup or in a container up to 1 gallon. It doesn't do running water like the blue unit does for your house system. It does do it for sitting water up to 1 gallon, which is plenty. Like if you come to a hotel and you buy a water container, just even stupid bottled water in a health food store, it doesn't matter. All you do is, with this unit you have here, you touch the container for 1 minute. And this is what it looks like in nature. You touch with this unit the water container, wherever the water sits in, glass, bottle, aluminum, doesn't matter, for 1 minute. And what you saw before, the hexagonal structure, it does exactly that, right? And when you travel, 1 gallon is enough. Now, when I talked about the blue unit before, I forgot to mention that the blue unit before, you can run an entire farm. And you have an idea how many 5,000 cattle water they drink every day?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you can put this unit on the supply line of the farm. No matter how big the pipe is, it doesn't matter, okay? And no matter how big the volume is running through this. Imagine that all cattle, all animals on a farm will be fed with 100% healthy water. Or
Yeah.
if you're a nursery with 10,000 of trees and plants, whatever, it doesn't matter. So this is unlimited volume, right? And of course, this all has been tested, so no question. Um, so this is what it does with the water, with this mobile unit. I call it mobile unit because you need something when you travel and you want to live healthy. You need something to compensate out in the field. It's good when you have water at home, which is healthy. Great. And a lot of people make a big mistake that they say, I have a under sink water filtering system for my drinking water in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Good, right? I agree. But what about the shower water? I made some tests when I took showers. I had typically up to 1 pound more weight after the shower than before. Now, why is that? Very simple. While you take the shower, the skin absorbs shower water. So if the shower water is filthy and bad, that's not too good either, is it?
Yeah.
All right. So I developed these two products. You have here the blue unit for the whole house system, and then the silver pen for mobile water. And here is the Mazzaro Emoto test on the silver pen. They did the same thing. Took reverse osmosis water, photo before, and took my pen and just held it up against the container with the water. Does it? It's difficult to understand perhaps, but does it kind of translate, Josh?
Yeah, yeah, it translates to me for sure. Yeah. So you just basically connect it to your service line, which is coming in. You always have like a shut off valve or a service line right there where your spigot is in places in like in California or here, in the United States. I don't know about how other ones work, but that's just that you attach it to your service line basically, right outside of your house, next
Okay.
underneath your spigot.
Yeah, let me change that a bit, modify a bit. You cannot have it exposed to the weather outside. So
You
you
got to
got
put it in the
to,
ground. Okay.
no, when the water pipe comes into the house the first time, let's say in the garage, wherever it arrives in the property, then you attach it to there before
Okay.
it separates throughout the house.
Okay. I
Okay.
understand. Yeah.
So I talked about the test with the Mazzaro Moto. You saw those. Now, I did the second test run with the BESA Institute, BESA in Austria. They tested all my products, and I have on my website 1,500 pages of scientific tests and certifications of all my products on my website for everyone to read. It's a very open book, and they tested it. Now, you see here an example. They tested the water unit. A person here, they tested the condition of the lung, the skin, the large intestine, stomach, bladder, lymph, kidney, and so on. There are more parameters. This is just an extract of the test. And they tested the person, and all the blue parameters tell you it's an unhealthy situation. The person is not healthy. This water affects the body and the functions, degenerated. Then they applied my water and they tested the person again. And everything basically, except for one little thing, everything which was blue before, degenerated, is now green, equal, healthy. And here's the comparison between the two. And again, these tests are on my website. This is just an extract. It's a scientific proof that the rehabilitation of my products on the water changes the body condition from blue degenerative into green healthy. And I have run this test over the place. I personally, I'm never present when people run those tests. I don't want to be present. I don't want to have anybody saying you were there, you influenced it. No, they did it in Austria while I live in the United States and Florida, and they send me the results after the tests have been done. And
Nice.
once the tests are done, you get a certificate for the product, which prove that they tested it and their results. And again, 1,500 pages. If somebody has any suspicion about my integrity, well, read the scientific tests.
Nice. Very interesting. So,
So I'm coming
So
to the end of the show.
yeah, go ahead. And I'll ask you
End of
in
the
a
show.
second.
My definition of health: body and mind in harmony. Sometimes I'm not happy with definitions I find in dictionaries or so. So I had to come up with my own one. Body and mind in harmony. If you ask somebody how healthy they are, they talk about their body. They never talk about their mind. They separate the two. Now I have a website which is improveyourlife.us. You find a truckload of videos, of talk shows, of interviews, of write-ups, of products, of product descriptions, and so on and so forth. My email address if you have questions. And the very last thing on my show, I want to thank people without whom I wouldn't be there where I am today. This doctor in Germany nobody knows of. It's a story for dinner time. It's one of my intense life stories. He saved my butt when I was on the verge to die, and he changed my complete life. And I worked with this doctor for 1 year as an internship, every day except Sunday and Christmas. And a lot of what I learned is today my basic life, I learned because of him. Then, of course, when you work in the field I work and you work with frequencies, you have to study Royal Raymond Rife. And a lot of things I know and I apply in my company and my products and my technology based on Royal Raymond Rife. Then, of course, there is, with no question, Nikola Tesla. Thanks to him, I found out truckload of things which I can use in my world. And then there is Mr. Max Planck, a German physicist, a friend of Einstein. People usually know Einstein. They don't know much about Max Planck. And Max Planck, he discovered quantum physics. Interesting enough, when he discovered quantum physics in the year 1900 exactly, it took 15 years before they gave him the Nobel Prize, because what he discovered with quantum physics was so out of the blue for them. They said the guy's crazy. They considered him crazy. Okay. And after 15 years, they said, well, he's so true. Quantum physics, which runs the world. And then there's a gentleman in Germany, nobody knows, basically in America, even or in Germany. His name is called Burkhard Heim. And what you saw there of me changing the structure of water is based on his findings. I'm not trying to claim that I'm the smartest person in the world. Maybe I'm the smartest listener, but not the smartest person in this world. It's very clear that I could only develop this with his knowledge. And last not least, Masaru Emoto, he really inspired me to work on water and to find out the truth and to give workable tools. So at the end of the day, knowledge makes no sense if you don't share it.
Amen. Yeah, I agree. Yes. And also it's good to have like we go into conspiracies, a lot of people, and they go into all these different where they're exposing evil, and then they never have an answer at the end, right? So at least you have a solution. A lot of people like to talk about problems all the time, just problem this is what the government's doing, this is what this is doing, this is what that's doing, and they don't have an answer. I at least, I'm not the answer, but I do have an answer. It's good, I would say Christ is the answer, right? To and at the end of all these rabbit holes, that everybody goes into as far as the conspiracy, they find out that the real truth, which I believe, is the Bible and is God, right? And is Jesus Christ, the way, the truth, the life. So it's nice to have somebody on that shows you a deficiency in this world and then have an answer for it. Instead of a lot of the people in the conspiracy community, they talk and talk and talk and talk, and we continue to just talk about conspiracies, but they don't have an answer. So it's nice that you provide an answer for the problem.
Well, you're stuck then. If you're stuck in a problem, so where's your world? Where's your future? Where's your development? Where's your help for others? Where's your contribution to this planet? Talking
Yeah.
about problems, that's not a solution. That's not a solution for this planet. Talking about solutions which work and which are workable. You see, whether I buy a Ford reverse osmosis system for $5,000 or you buy my product for $600-700, yes, I make money with this. Thank you very much. But I don't become filthy rich. And that's not my target. My target is to offer solution and to help to improve this planet.
Hmm. Yeah, I love it. It's a great show. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy it because I love water. So I love
Well, you're
dealing with water,
knowledgeable.
and
I
I
can't
like
have a
it.
better I can't have a better talk show partner than you.
I like it. So well, let
Because
me ask you this. So with so have you maybe, because I know that there's constituents in water where we have to, basically what we do, guys, is if we're gonna obviously dig a well, and we dig a well and then we take the water out, we send it to the lab tests out, there's constituents. Okay, cool, there's this constituent where we're actually going to have to put filtration in before we serve it to the public, because we need to get that constituent out. So have you, well, I don't know, like if you drink just regular city water, I want to find out if what does it take to make that make it to get to that hexagon shape,
yeah,
like if it goes through any type of filtration, does it do that, or is it only reverse osmosis that makes it uh not? I don't know if you know the answer to this, but
yeah. Now, first of all, you mentioned well water, right?
yeah.
In my, I have a second show which I kindly offer to you if you're interested in.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
second, as I
definitely.
mentioned, is what are the parameters of healthy water? How can I judge what is healthy water? Okay. Um, a lot of people have a misunderstanding. When I give seminars, I say, "Oh, I don't need such a thing. I have my own well on my property." Yeah,
Oh,
that's nice. If you have your own well, it doesn't mean that the water is healthy. Okay.
of
And I say,
course.
if you have your own well, you have to at least once a year check the water by a qualified lab with like 200 parameters to really say, well, can I drink that water? And the answer in many cases is no, you should not drink that water, because you cannot control what's 30 miles up the river, so to speak, they throw into the ground and which you catch in your well under your property. Okay.
Yes,
It's
very true.
naive to think if I dig a well, this water is healthy. That's very naive. And on top of that, I say every year, because the water under stream water changes its direction and changes its flows and influences. So, okay.
Yes, you're very
Um,
true, very true. I agree with this.
so it doesn't matter. I took the reverse osmosis water in my seminars then as, let me call it, the standard of evil. Okay, this is for me evil. It's not bad. It's evil. And it's like the cigarette industry. They know what they were doing when they sold the cigarettes, right? They know what they were doing, and the water industry, to a big part, know what they're doing. They don't care, and they don't want to look into it. So once you put this unit on any water pipe, and no matter which water pipe, every water will have the hexagonal structure. We program in quantum physics the hexagonal structure into that water. And it's a very simple, very simple test I tell people. When I was younger, like everyone learned about, we should drink 1 gallon water a day, right?
Uh-huh.
I tried, and after half a gallon, I was like fed up. I couldn't see any more water. I couldn't see it anymore. I didn't want to touch it anymore, regardless of a gallon of water, right? And later out, I found why. Because when you drink unhealthy water, it is not hexagonal structured, which means fine clustered. The job of the water is not to quench your thirst. The job of the water is to penetrate your cells. That's the other water show will talk about this. And when the water doesn't have this fine structure, it doesn't enter the cells. So the water sits in your belly, bloated. You feel no more water, right? And you don't want to drink it anymore. Okay. Now the fun part is if you take tomorrow then this structured water, you drink easily a gallon and you enjoy it. Why? Because the water, once enters your body, is immediately accepted by all the cells. And when I give live seminars, and I should visit you one day, and we'll do this in your studio, maybe. I'm open to
My
that.
studio, my studio is my kitchen.
Yeah, yeah. Same here. But
Yeah.
I mean live person. I
I
can
know what you mean.
demonstrate most people are dehydrated. I would say about 95, 98% of the people coming to my seminars, I test them in the seminar, they're all dehydrated. Yeah, I just drank a gallon of water. Yeah, but the water was bad. So the
Yeah.
bad water doesn't hydrate you. And I go crazy when I see all these bottles out there on the shelves and they speak about hydration. For me, that's a complete scam.
Yeah. Of
Okay.
course. Me
Okay?
too.
It doesn't hydrate you. It's an illusion. And they drink then these energy drinks and electrolytes. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't matter. And then if you drink that water I create, people see all of a sudden say, well, I can drink the water now easy. It tastes great and I don't feel blah, blah. I do it back to your question with every water quality. In those tests, in those documentations, we took again the devil water, the evil water, as the most negative scenario. So if you drink, for example, take city water, that's a home run for my system because there's so little to be fixed compared to the reverse osmosis water. So does it answer your question? It doesn't matter which water you take. If your city would run the water from your supply through a pipe which has this unit on, it will be the hexagonal structure implemented.
And then it doesn't disinfect water at all. It just
No,
corrects that portion,
no, it
just so
doesn't.
people are clear.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. No, it doesn't disinfect water.
Okay.
But
Dude, if you made it that disinfects water,
but
then
but it nullifies bacteria.
yeah.
So I could say now, I don't have the proof in front of me here for you to show, but we've done this many times. Every negative frequency, you remember the image pro-survival, counter-survival frequency, right?
Yeah.
The disinfection in water, is it pro-survival or counter-survival?
Disinfection?
Yeah.
Um, I wish I remembered that. I remember seeing it. I just don't.
Well,
Hold on. Pro survival or well, it's supposed to be pro survival because it's disinfecting the water and it makes it right. Right.
it's trying to achieve a state of pro-survival
Yeah.
to protect you from bacteria, right?
Yeah.
How does it do this? Naturally?
No.
No, with chemicals.
Yeah.
Are chemicals pro-survival or counter-survival?
Counter survival.
So you take a counter-survival product, chemistry, chemicals, and you try to prevent the building of bacteria, right?
Yeah.
Now, every bacteria has a frequency. When I apply the frequency with my technology, I nullify this bacteria frequency. So it has no more impact. That's a hard bridge to walk over, to cross. It's a mind-blowing concept,
Yeah.
right? So do I argue with the city about their applying? They apply chemical because the way we create drinking water today is just bad. It's just wrong, right? And you may have heard about certain people in Europe as well. They created technology where they spin water, to oxygenate it, and to make it more healthy, right? So bottom line is, I claim, whoops, sorry.
No
I,
worries.
I claim that water, let's put it simple. No matter which water filtering system you have, and no matter you take city water or water filtered through your system you have, adding my product will create, to my definition, the best quality drinking water you can have in our Western society.
Nice. Very interesting, man. What a great show. It was very fun.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming. And my kids will come down in the next like 10 minutes. So and especially when I'm just listening, because what happened is sometimes I'm listening to the guest and I'm not talking. So they're like, they must be done. Then they'll shoot down. So
So
thank you for coming on.
We got to make sure they get breakfast now.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I really appreciate you coming on. And every time that you've come on, you always give a buttload of knowledge and I love it. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you doing what you're doing and you spreading the word, and not only the factual world, but the Christian world as well.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All glory to God. It's not me. I'm just a vessel being used, just like you, you know?
So we pray at the end now.
Yeah, we pray. Yeah, we pray. So, like I always do, we always end in prayer. So, Father God, in the name of Jesus, thank you so much. We appreciate everything you do for us, and we appreciate Norbert and all of his research. You know, and it takes a special person, Lord, to find a problem in the world and expose evil, and then try to come up with a solution for us. And we know that you know his heart and what he's trying to do. And I could tell by his last show about the coffee show, he's not trying to shut the coffee industry down and create some other product to make money on. Lord, he's just trying to assist people and assist humanity with with our everyday lives. So I just want to pray for Norbert. You keep him safe. Obviously, some of his stuff that he goes against is big pharma and these big companies. So I just ask that you keep him safe in his journeys, and whenever he's doing his presentations, and whenever he's doing his anytime he's traveling, Lord, I ask that you just keep him safe from harm, because he is exposing evil and exposing these big corporations, and obviously they don't like that. So if you could be with him everywhere, and also bring him closer to you, Lord, bring him closer to the Bible and your word, Lord, if you can. And I just want to say thank you for everything you do for us. We appreciate you, Lord, and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen. So
Amen.
thank you so much, Norbert. Hey, like I said, we'll have a part two. Everybody that's listening, thank you guys so much. We love you and we appreciate you, and God bless you.